Rumor has it you'll soon be changing your name to Nostradamus. The predictions that you've made have come through with uncanny accuracy. How are you today, Larry?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in.
Yeah,
Hanging in there.
Larry's having a little bit of a rough time as the summer sets in there in Arkansas. Larry, I've created a graphic for us today which features your favorite senator, Bernie Sanders. He's recently made a proposal that I almost feel like he watches our show and then does exactly what you say. He seems to think that they're going to be able to pay off all student loans, irrespective of the income of the person with the loan. And it's exactly what you predicted.
Well, you know, Jason, I tell you these things for a reason, folks. I've told you these things futuristically, not because I'm a prophet. I'm not a soothsayer. I don't read tea leaves. I know them. I know what they're going to do before they do it. Now, Jason, that sounds like the craziest statement any human being can make. But I've tried to give you proof, okay? Proof that I know what I'm doing, that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I want people to consider if I was right. Let's just take it. Look, remember when I told you, Jason, if Trump's going to win, the thing to do was to fight socialism, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Now, folks, soon after we started pitching that and talking about it, before it happened, we were talking about socialism as the key. Trump in his State of the Union speech said, America will never be a socialist country, never socialism. Which, by the way, if you doubt me, there are exactly T-shirts that I had made up that say never socialism.
Right.
Then, I told you, Jason, and I told your audience, time and time again, look, don't think about Trump. Take his name off the ballot. Put us there. They don't want Trump out. They want us out of government. They don't want us having any say-so over our government at all. So they're not fighting Trump. They're fighting us. Well, when he kicked off his campaign, what did he say? He said the same thing. Then I tell you there will be reparation. They're going to have reparation. Then I tell you they're going to have a deal to pitch all college loans paid off.
Yeah.
And you see that coming to fruition. Now, folks, why, if I was right about that, you don't have to like me. You can hate my guts, think I'm a con man, think I'm the sorriest thing that ever hit the face of the earth. But if any man can do that, and I did it on purpose, took the gamble, Jason, took the chance and did it. If any man on earth could do that, why would you not believe me when I tell you the rest of it? Huh? Hell, Jason, you've been around. Tell me anybody you've ever been around. Tell me some person you've ever been around that has told the things futuristically I have that have come true.
It's remarkable, Larry. Definitely, you know, the past 2 weeks we've been doing shows about predictions that you made that have come true with stunning accuracy.
And Jason, these things that I was telling y'all back when I was starting with it, who could have ever looked up into the sky and said, hey, they're going to pick a thing called reparation.
How did you know?
How did I know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I knew. Steadily, the Democrats have lost strength in the black community. Steadily. And it's been going on, and then when Obama came in, they lost even more. The blacks have become totally disillusioned. They had to buy back the blacks. They had to buy back the blacks. Years ago, in 1986, Jason, when we were working on the 86 plan for Bill Clinton to get him to run for president, there was a meeting with Jesse Jackson and Bill Clinton. And Bill was wanting to make sure the Rainbow Coalition, Jackson's organization, would be behind him if he ran. Jackson was a little standoffish, and Clinton asked him, what can we do to guarantee the black vote? He said, well, there's one thing, reparation. First time I'd ever even heard of it. That was in 1986. And that would ensure and lock the black vote. Now, of course, we discussed at the time, of course, it could never happen, it wouldn't happen, but that would secure the black vote. So Clinton was going to use it if he had to. So, knowing that the Democrats have lost that black vote or percentage of it, I knew what they had to come with. The only attractive thing to the blacks. You can't promise blacks inner city, you know, the standard political lines are, gosh, elect me, and we're going to really work on the neighborhoods in the black community. That's never happened. They've said that over and over, and it's never occurred. Never. The one thing that could lock the blacks into having a vote, and that's the key with the sweeteners. I've told you, Jason, if you're a black person in America, if somebody's throwing $5,000 or $25,000 for a family for somebody's throwing that in your face, you've got to vote for it just to see if it happen. Even if you think realistic, they probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, any person of any color would be pretty attracted to somebody promising them $5,000.
Right. So that's how I knew that one. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So you see, there was a logical way I knew it. I didn't just pull it out of the sky. There was a logical way I knew it. And then paying off the college loans. Where did that come from? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I was in a restaurant, my wife and I, and this really nice young man came out, and this was a year or two ago. Nice young man came out. And we just started, I don't know why we started the conversation, and my wife worked at UCA at the time, and he knew her, and he had graduated, and he had all these great things in his degree, and here he is waiting tables. Well, as time has progressed, more and more people that have gotten out of college are selling cars, waiting tables, jobs that were nowhere near what they were promised or thought they were promised.
Right.
So there's a vulnerable group. Here's a group that's suffering. They're waiting tables, and they're having to pay off $50,000 to $250,000 college loans. They're vulnerable. So I knew, Jason, that there would come a time in this campaign where they would have to go for it. Yeah. And I was validated when that black guy at that black college commencement speech told all the people in that room he was going to pay for all their college debt. That was confirmation that was coming.
You know, it's interesting.
A guess.
No, it's not a guess, for sure. This is years worth of knowledge that you've accumulated from doing what you do. I didn't realize that Bill Clinton and Jesse Jackson had been so close throughout the years. There are quite a lot of photographs of them together. You know, Ole Damagard did a presentation about the assassination of Martin Luther King, and Ole has found evidence that indicates that Jesse Jackson was pivotally involved in seeing to it that the assassination took place.
Could be, I don't know. I'll tell you a little more about Jackson and Clinton. When Clinton decided to run, when he was going to run, Jackson was going to run.
Right.
I had Bill Rimple from the Los Angeles Times and myself, we were in my van at the time, and I had bugged the governor's mansion.
Bugged?
I had placed mics all over it.
Wow.
And here was this meeting with Jesse Jackson, and Clinton wanted him to back him and get out of the race. Jackson told him basically to go to hell. Then Mr. Whit Stevens told Jackson if he would get out of the race, what did he want? And Jackson just flippantly said some kind of jet, Learjet. Stevens said, you got it.
Wow.
So they bought him a Learjet, and they got rid of him as a campaign competitor, and he supported Clinton.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, I don't know that much about Jesse Jackson, but the more I hear, the less impressed I am. You know, Larry, we've got some people in the comments. Craig's News was saying that he thinks the Democrats are going to pull out Michelle Obama. I don't disagree with that. I've thought for a long time that they would try and use Michelle Obama. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. She seems like the exact opposite of Donald Trump. And for people that don't like the president, I would think that would be, you know, we don't want another old white guy like Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. Michelle Obama seems the obvious opponent.
Never happened. Never going to happen.
Why is that?
Well, because she is not loved in the black community at all.
Really?
She won't run.
Huh. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I thought she was.
Forget it.
Women love her, black people love her.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's not somebody else that might jump in, like an Oprah Winfrey or somebody like that, but Michelle Obama's not coming.
Right.
And the Democrats, I'm sure, are scared of Joe Biden because he has a tendency to fall on his face. Plus, he has that image of the old white guy, and they're still having trouble inside the Democratic Party with this youth movement against old white guys. So, yeah, there's a problem for Biden. But as of now, based off the money, he's the DNC pick.
He's just so going to crash and burn. There's no way he's going to win, right?
I don't think there is. I just don't think there is. I just don't think. Well, the problem he's got is nobody has come up with his message yet.
Right.
Nope. And so what everybody's waiting for is a breakout candidate in these debates. There's going to have to be a breakout candidate that comes out. If not, it'll truck along like this until primary Biden will get it.
Yeah.
I assure you, Trump, I believe, is chomping at the bits for it to be Joe Biden.
Yeah, it would be an easy victory for him, I think.
It'll be tough with the sweeteners the Democrats are going to use in the impeachment on him, which, by the way, was another thing. I said that Trump would be impeached the day he got elected, not put into office the day he got elected.
He hasn't been impeached yet?
Well, he's going to be impeached.
Yeah, they definitely
But if
seem...
nothing else, if nothing else, you've heard them trying to find a way to impeach him. So
No doubt, no doubt.
Don't worry.
I think it counts
Don't
as
worry,
an
it's tough.
accurate prediction. Larry, I want to remind everybody who's watching us right now that they can support you financially by visiting your website, nicholslive.com. You can click on the donate button, and it's going to take you right to Larry's PayPal address. You can go to paypal.com and use nicholslive@aol.com to send Larry some money. You can also stick some cash in an envelope and mail it to him in Conway, Arkansas. You know, I don't know if people haven't spent much time in the South, in the United States in the summertime, but where Larry is right over there gets so hot and humid during the summer. So he's got to be looking after his health this time of year, and I hope that people watching us on the various platforms that we are on will support Larry, because he's bringing us these great insights, interesting stories from his experience. Nobody else told me that the Democrats were going to rely on reparations for black Americans or paying everybody's college tuition. So, Larry, what's going to happen? They'll just say this and then they won't be able to do it and people will be pissed off and that's it?
no, the way that works is if they get elected, they won't do it, of course, but they'll blame it on the Republicans. We used to do it all the time. I would tell Bill Clinton, promise anything to get elected. He'd say, yeah, but what happens if I get elected? I said, then when you can't get it, blame it on the Republicans.
Congress.
You tried, they wouldn't let you.
Right. Easily done.
Simple.
So,
And
Larry,
by the way, they've been doing that for probably 50 years.
right. And I was going to ask you my next question, which is, to what extent do you think that the public is, you know, becoming wise to these tricks? Are they still as effective as they once were?
No, yes, they're as effective as they've always been.
They are. People aren't getting any smarter.
Nope.
But don't you
No.
think that alternative news programs like ours help people learn? I mean, certainly this type of conversation was never on CNN or ABC News in the 80s and the 90s. This is a new type of,
Once again, I'm a technician, right? This isn't make-believe. It's not magic. The truth is, again, 98% of America get 100% of that which they consider news at a national level to make a decision to vote for president or not. And of that 98% of the population, they get 100% of that which they say is enough news on the national level for them to pick president or whatever from their local TV networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And then the at 6 and 10 o'clock news programs where it all goes.
right.
Now, 6 and 10 o'clock, they have special programming for local. They've got weather, local news, sports, all that. National news takes 4 to 7 minutes of time.
Right.
And of course, your ABC, NBC, and CBS affiliates are passing out the same stuff that CNN and MSNBC are passing out.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a whole 98% of this population that don't know jack.
Yeah. Now, Larry, we've got Phil C. in the comments here on YouTube saying that the reparations move is a tactic to get Trump to veto the bill and try and prove that he's racist. That's an interesting point. They do like to come up with these plans where it's sort of a checkmate, right? If he goes this way, we've got him on that.
It's not going to work like that.
No?
Yeah, it's not going to work like that. Forget that thinking. Number one, Trump's way removed from it. If the House were to pass it today, it would go to the Senate, and of course it would fail in the Senate. They'll blame the Republicans, not Trump. Trump will never lay hands on veto and reparation. He'll never see it. Even Bernie Sanders figures it'd cost a couple trillion. Even if it did pass the House, even if it did pass the Senate, and even if Trump signed it into law, it's got to go to appropriations, and there's no money for such a law.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Well, and we always hear AOC say, oh, well, we have enough money for all these wars. I mean, the point is we don't have enough money for all those wars. That's just basically the way that they keep the dollar value by waging these wars around the country. So there's a lot of stuff that AOC, she's not letting up, Larry. AOC is just spouting off more nonsense all the time.
That's right. And she's winning.
She's popular.
She's winning.
Yeah.
I had the guy that taught me the most about politics. His name was Jerry Russell.
Jerry
He
Russell.
knew more about Jerry Russell from Little Rock, Arkansas. God bless him. He knew more about politics than I know today on his little finger than I know today in all my years. He's brilliant. He told me 95% of the American people are absolutely stupid. And I used to argue with him about that. I can't believe that. 40 years has taught me better. 40, 50 years has taught me better.
Did he die in 2003, Larry?
Yeah. I guess, yes, he's dead. I don't know what year. But he and I would handle literally 50, 60, 70 campaigns a year together. Every year, you're in and there, you're out. From dog catcher to president. The only thing that he liked about me, or the thing he always said about me, and which is the same reason that Stephen saw what they saw in me, the same thing Bill Clinton saw in me, not Hillary, Bill. They all knew I had the ability to see in the future. When we were doing the 86 plan, Dick Morris, Little Dicky, he did historical stuff. So in other words, you'll never win president wearing yellow tennis shoes on Sunday. That hadn't happened since he could give you a historical record of anything. Paul was a good writer. But my job was to look into the future and plan out exactly what would happen if this, and this. tell them what they've got to do in the future, and I did. And that's why when Bill was in office, and that's why when Hillary was running, I said all over America, here's the problem I got. I helped write the book, their playbook. I helped write it, which now has been adopted by the Democratic Party. And I was able to know what the Clintons were going to do before they did it, and I knew what they were going to do before they did it, but they still had to do it.
And I guess they're still playing by that same playbook.
Yes, they are.
Now, Larry, we got a lot of questions coming for you on the chat here today, so let me pick your brain for a moment. We know that last week, members of this NXIVM sex cult were convicted here in New York, and there are all kinds of ties to Democrats, including the Clintons, Kirsten Gillibrand, or at least her family members. We've heard about Chuck Schumer. I can't imagine anyone wanting to be in a sex cult that Chuck Schumer is in. Do you know anything about connections between the Clintons and this guy, Keith Raniere, who co-founded the NXIVM sex cult?
No, I don't, but I do not doubt it. Look, I've got the FBI. I've got the raw FBI intelligence files on probably 60, 70% now of Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Any House member, Senate member, department head, whatever. And I swear to you all, you could not put together a worse bunch of sick people than are in Washington, D.C. From being pedophiles to drug addicts to alcoholics to womanizers to woman beaters, you name it. And just like Schumer likes to beat hookers up.
Chuck Schumer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Eat that, Chucky.
All right, so let me ask you about another topic. I know we've spoken about this a little bit. I'm not sure if this had occurred prior to or after our previous show, but now a friend of Linda Collins, the former state senator from Arkansas, has been arrested and charged with her murder. What's the word around there in Arkansas about this? With the friend?
No, I haven't heard any of that.
Rebecca Lynn O'Donnell?
I paid very little, Jason. I paid little attention at all to local or state. I don't. Probably should, but I just can't.
All right. No problem. So no news on Linda Collins Smith.
If she did kill her, then I hope they caught her. That I will say.
Right.
And I don't know any reason or anything like that.
Right. Okay. And then the other thing that people want to know about, Larry, is what do you think about Trump's handling of Iran?
I think he did exactly the right thing. He did exactly the right thing. Number one, folks, they shot down a drone. And what Trump had to look at, the targets that the CIA had picked out, had collateral damage, human life, which I think surprised him. I think he was thinking they were going to take out some plant, some structure. But when he got time to pull the trigger, he found out that they guesstimated 150 lives would die, but be lost.
Right.
And so he stopped. So that, remember, Trump is going to do everything he can to keep us from getting in another Middle Eastern war. He ran on it, he hates it, and he's not going to do anything like that. Now, does that mean he's not going to pull the trigger and bust Iran's butt? No, he will. But he'll pick the way and he'll pick the time. And then I believe he figured that tweaking up the sanctions would hurt him worse. And he got the ability, by them shooting down the drone, to get more support from the UN to tweak up the sanctions, plus the fact that when him sitting there looking like he was going to pull the trigger on nuking them or hitting them with something, that made the UN people say, well, we better do something to support Trump so he doesn't do that. So he played it very smart.
Right.
In my opinion.
He also was on Meet the Press, I guess on Sunday, talking about how his cabinet has doves and hawks in it. And he was talking specifically about John Bolton, somebody that you and I have spoken about in the past. What do you think Trump is doing with John Bolton? Is this a pit bull on a leash that he's walking around the neighborhood with but doesn't intend to actually unleash?
He uses Bolton like a sword. As long as he's got Josh Bolton, any nation in the world knows that Bolton's going to be for blowing them up. So he uses Bolton very effectively. He's doing exactly what I would have done. Get somebody like Bolton and scare the bejesus out of all these nations around the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he certainly does that. And they know you've got a crazy guy on the team. I guess nobody really knows what that guy's going to do. So it's interesting to observe. I mean, definitely President Trump acts substantially differently than any president of my lifetime. And I think that that's working, his unique style.
Yes. It is. Look, one day soon, well, look what he did on Mexico, on the border, threatening the up in the sanctions. Now all of a sudden, he's throwing soldiers on the borders.
Right. That's pretty interesting. I don't think that's ever happened before, that Mexico had sent soldiers to the border to stop the migrants. I mean, you know, when you hear Trump say Mexico is going to pay for the wall, certainly Mexico is obviously footing some expense to have their soldiers prevent people from trying to cross the wall. So perhaps what Trump said is more true than people realized.
Absolutely. Look, Trump's got America in a perfect place in the world. You know, he was great with the sanctions on Mexico. He said it'd be 6 weeks, and then in a month or 2 weeks, whenever it'll go up to 25%, just keep going up to 25%. And then he sits there and says, hey, don't worry about it, that'd be great for us. Look at all the money we make.
We've got Reach Echo Voice wants to know, Larry, if you've had any involvement with Roger Stone or Paul Manafort.
Have with Paul and over the years with Roger, but I'm not involved with Roger presently in his situation, and I haven't dealt with Manafort probably since the campaign.
And you know, that reminds me, Larry, today we were supposed to release some testimony from Dr. Corsi that was given last week at Larry Klayman's Citizens Grand Jury. We're still finishing up some of the editing and obviously the back and forth. Larry's got to see it before I release it. So Larry's rescheduled the release of that for Thursday. So if people who are watching us right now, you'll be able to see that really lengthy coverage of the Citizens Grand Jury and Dr. Corsi's really interesting testimony about how he was questioned by the FBI and some of the circumstances that surrounded their investigation into the doctor, his family members, his business associates, and people who the FBI alleged were connected to Roger Stone, WikiLeaks, and various other parties having to do with all of that. So, Larry, I know you're feeling
Jason, you're seeing the modern day Gestapo.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Gestapo. Tactics are the same. It's just under a veil of some form of almost legal. It's not, but they make it out to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a bit worse than the Gestapo, because the Gestapo was dealing with 1940 technology, and what they've got today is far more invasive than they could have ever hoped for.
Right. Buddy, I'm just about spent. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, Larry. I could hear it in your voice. I think this is a good point for us to stop. I do want to remind people that Larry needs our support and our help. And if you enjoy watching the show each week, it's really important that you get over to nicholslive.com, go on to PayPal, and utilize Larry's PayPal address, nicholslive@aol.com. Sponsor Larry, send him some money. You could stick a few dollars in an envelope, put a stamp on there, and just send it to him there in Conway, Arkansas. It's also important that people who enjoy the show and the various guests that I bring on, please sponsor Crowdsource the Truth. Get on to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. The type of material that we're bringing forward is regularly rejected by YouTube as not acceptable for most advertisers. So the only way that this show can be sustained is with your sponsorship. If you enjoy the program, if you're watching it every day, every other day, a couple times a week, $2 a month, $5 a month. It's really less than you'd pay for one newspaper, one magazine, a cup of coffee. So I hope we'll have your sponsorship. Larry, thanks for joining me this week. I know it's difficult for you here in the summer months, and I hope you can relax a bit.
Jason, yeah, folks, I do need your help if you can today. I really do. I'm sorry. Sorry to ask. I can't.
We understand, Larry. Yeah, everybody needs financial support to get by in the world today. So I hope that people will support Larry. Nicholslive.com/donate is the place to go for that. Larry, we'll be back in touch throughout the week. And if you're feeling well enough, next Tuesday, we'll have you back. Thanks for now. And don't forget, everybody, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on Patreon and Subscribestar, we're going to have another episode of More Pain. Michael Moore is going to be breaking some really shocking news about top FBI brass drinking on the job. So we'll see what Michael has to say at 8. Larry, take care of yourself, and thanks for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you later today.